Hello everyone, welcome to my channel BioFingerprints. Today we are going to cover the fundamental unit of life. Here are the topics which we will cover. So first, it's important to know about a cell. So what is a cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of life. It means our life is made up of some tiny subunits. जैसे हम कह सकते हैं कि एक बहुत बड़ी बिल्डिंग है, वो छोटी छोटी सी ब्रिक्स से मिलकर बनी होती है. Right? Same we can compare an infrastructure with our body. As bricks are the building blocks of a building, similarly cells are the building blocks of our body. So here is the comparison. Like when more than two bricks combine, they form a wall. Okay, and when more than two walls combine, they form a room. And when more than two rooms combine, they form a house. And when more than two houses combine, they form a society. Same thing happens in our body. So here is the hierarchy of levels of organization. Cells, we can compare the cells in our body with the bricks, tissues with the walls, organs with the rooms, organ systems with a house, and organisms with a society. So it means when a group of cells combine, they form tissues. When more than two tissues combine, they form organs. When more than one or two organs combine, they form organ systems. When more than two systems combine, they form a complete organisms, like a plant or an animal. Now moving on, the discovery of cells by Robert Hooke. So cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. He used such microscope to observe the thin slices of cork. And cork is the outermost dead part of a plant, which is a bark. So he observed some hollow honeycomb-like structures similar to some small rooms or boxes, so he called them as cells. Now there are some contributions of great biologists. Number one, Robert Brown. He discovered the nucleus in human cheek cells. So nucleus is the part of a cell. We'll study more about nucleus in detail. Next, Schleiden. He was a botanist who worked on plants and concluded that all plants are made up of cells. Next, Schwann. He was a zoologist who worked on animals and concluded that all animals are made up of cells. Next biologist is Virchow. So he concluded that all cells arise from pre-existing cells by cell division, right? For example, अगर आप ये वाला सेल देखो तो जो ये वाला सेल है, ये सेल डिवाइड हुआ तो ये टू डॉटर सेल्स बने, राइट? अब जो ये वाला सेल है ये डिवाइड होगा तो अगेन ये टू डॉटर सेल्स में डिवाइड होगा. ओके, सिमिलरली ये भी और ये भी, राइट? सो सच डिविजन्स आर नोन एज सेल डिविजन्स एंड देयर आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स, meiosis and mitosis. Next, the cell theory. So this theory was given by Schleiden and Schwann. We have already discussed about Schleiden and Schwann here. Schleiden was a botanist and Schwann was a zoologist. So they postulated that all living organisms are made up of cells. Number two, cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life. Number three, cells arise from pre-existing cells. So here are some examples of single-celled organisms, few-celled organisms and multi-celled organisms. Single-celled organisms means the complete one cell, the entire one single cell behave like an organism. Bacteria and RBCs are the smallest cells, nerve cells are the longest cells, and ostrich egg is the largest single cell. Now, there are some different types of cell shapes. So, here are some shapes of cells which occupy some specific functions in a cell. For example, number 1, RBCs. RBCs are circular and biconcave. This is because they can be passed through narrow capillaries like arteries and veins and cannot stuck in them while passing. Next, WBCs. So the shape of WBC is amoeboid. So this is similar to the movement in amoeba where you see the false feet, right? False feet or pseudopodia like this. So that they can be squeezed out through blood capillaries. Okay, so you must have noticed you must have noticed when you get an allergy on your skin, so rashes appear, right? So this is because our immune system becomes so active to reach near our body surface by squeezing out the capillaries. For example, I'm explaining you with the help of a diagram. So this is the normal case where this is your body surface and here WBCs are present in blood capillaries. Okay, and as and when allergy appears, then what happens? As and when allergy appears, then they reach near the body surface. So they squeeze out of the blood capillaries like this. So they show a different type of movement in which they can be squeezed out from this blood capillary and reach to the body surface. Okay, so this movement is known as diapediasis. Diapediasis, and this movement is also known as amoeboid movement, and the shape is known as amoeboid shape. This is just like the shape of an amoeba. So ये बिल्कुल वैसा ही है जैसे आपको कोई फ्रेंड किसी प्रॉब्लम में हो तो आप 2-3 फ्रेंड्स मिलकर उसे बचाने वहाँ पहुँच जाते हो, राइट? सो इट हैपेंस इन दिस केस ओनली. Next, nerve cell. Nerve cell is long in shape so that they can conduct impulses or signals to the brain from your sense organs and vice versa. For example, if you touch an object which is very hot, so you pull your hand back, right? So the reason is that your hand sends message to your brain via CNS and your brain sends message back to your hand that this object is too hot, please leave it fast. So it takes less than microseconds. इतनी जल्दी होता है ये काम. So next is muscle cell. Muscle cells are long for better contraction. Next, guard cells. Guard cells are bean shaped, so they are present only in plant cells. So they are bean shaped so that it is important to regulate the stomata for both opening and closing of stomata. So it is bean shaped so that the closing and opening both can be occurred. Now come to the basic structure of a cell. Please wait, I'll take only a few seconds. Yes. Now, so this outer structure, this is known as the cell wall. And this structure, cell wall, is present only and only in plants, not in animals. I am repeating once again, cell wall is the outermost membrane or the outermost structure of a cell which is only present in plants, not in animals. So it makes a basic difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. Next, the layer or the membrane just below the cell wall is cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell membrane is also known as plasma membrane. And yes, this membrane is present in both plants and animals. So now inside a cell there is an important structure present, that is a nucleus. So a nucleus carries genetic information, it also carries chromatin fibers. We'll study about nucleus in more detail later, right? Next, this. Can you say this blank space? This blank space is known as cytoplasm. So this space is filled with, some jelly-like substance, and inside the cytoplasm some cell organelles are present. So some cell organelles are also present. So these cell organelles basically they flow in cytoplasm. So this is all about the basic structure of a cell. We'll study about all these structures in more detail later, right? Now moving on the detailed structure of these things, like first is the cell wall. So cell wall is found in plant cells, fungi, bacteria, right? And yes, we have already studied about a cell wall. That cell wall is present only in plants, and it is the outermost part. So here if you could see, the cell wall is present just outside the cell membrane. Cell membrane is also known as, yes, correct, plasma membrane. We have already covered this. So in this diagram you can see the cell wall is located just outside the plasma membrane. And yes, this cell wall it is made up of some special type of sugars which constitute the cell wall. So the name of the special sugar is cellulose. So basically this cellulose provides strength to the plant. So this is the main job of the cellulose in plants. Now moving on the function of a cell wall. So cell wall is first, cell wall provides shape, structure, support and protection to the plant. And yes, one more thing which is very important, and it comes in many competitive exams also, that cell wall is fully permeable. Cell wall is fully permeable. What do you mean by this fully permeable? It means it allows various substances to pass through, like water, carbon dioxide, oxygen. It allows many molecules to pass through it. Now, here are some responses of cell wall. Number 1, turgid, number 2, flaccid, and number 3, plasmolysed condition. So what happens in case of a turgid condition? So if you could see here, the diagram explains itself, the meaning of a turgid condition, right? So a cell is turgid when water from outside or environment moves into the cell, and as a result what happens? As a result, the cell swells up, right? So basically it happens when a cell is placed in a hypotonic solution. Right? And in case of a flaccid condition, so this is equilibrium condition. This is equilibrium condition when a cell is placed in an isotonic solution. It means neither the water from outside can go in, nor the cell content releases its stuff outside. So here this condition is equilibrium. Next, plasmolysed condition. So this is a condition when a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution. When a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, and in this solution the water goes out from the cell. If you could see the diagram, the arrow indicates everything, right? So in this solution the water goes out from the cell. So as a result what happens? The cell shrinks. So this process is known as plasmolization. Next is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is found in all the cells, plant, animals, microbes. And what is the main job of this plasma membrane? We have already discussed the plasma membrane in the basic structure of a cell, where it lies just inside the cell wall. Okay, and what is the main job of this plasma membrane? It controls entrance and exit of molecules in and out of the cell. So it controls the entrance. So therefore it is known as the semi-permeable. Its nature is semi-permeable. Please remember, the nature of cell wall is fully permeable and the nature of plasma membrane is semi-permeable. It means it doesn't allow everything to pass through in and out. Now moving on to the cell nucleus part, it is present in the center of the cell. It is embedded by the nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope is also known as nuclear membrane. And over the surface of nuclear membrane, if you could see, there are some pores present. Those are known as nuclear pores, and these pores are necessary for the exchange of materials in and out of the nucleus. Next is nucleoplasm. This is another part of the cell nucleus. So nucleoplasm is the structure which maintains the shape and structure of the whole nucleus. It contains genetic material. It contains genetic material. And inside this structure, nucleoplasm, first chromatin fibers are present. So chromatin fibers are present like this, in a thread-like structure. So when these chromatin fibers condense or pack tightly or come closer to each other, chromosomes are formed like this. Such structures are formed. So chromosomes are present on the surface of DNA, which is the genetic material in our body. It is responsible for the transmission of genetic characters from parents to their offsprings. For example, आपकी हाइट बहुत ज़्यादा है तो सब कहते ही होंगे कि आप अपनी मम्मा पर गए हो या आप अपने पापा पर गए हो. So you must have heard such statements from people around you, right? So this is because of the characteristic features which actually your parents carry and transmit in you. And yes, one more thing, nucleolus, it is present inside the nucleus, which is involved in protein synthesis. So on the basis of presence or absence of nucleus, cells are divided into two main types, prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. First, we'll discuss about a prokaryotic cell, right? So this is the cell, and here the nuclear content is present in the center. So yes, so here in case of a prokaryotic cell, no nuclear membrane is present. No nuclear membrane or envelope is present. So what happens? So all the nuclear content or stuff is scattered somewhere in the center of the cell only. So since nucleus is not embedded by any nuclear membrane, so no nuclear membrane is present, it is not embedded by any nuclear membrane. So we call it that no true nucleus is present. No true nucleus is present in a prokaryotic cell. And one of the very common example is bacteria. Bacteria is a prokaryote. Next is eukaryotic cell. So here, if you could see, nuclear membrane is present. Nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope is present around the nuclear content, right? So we call it as the true nucleus. So we can call it as the true nucleus. The true nucleus is present in an eukaryotic cell, right? So some common examples of eukaryotic cells are plant cells, animal cells, fungi. They all are eukaryotes. They possess eukaryotic cell. The organisms which possess prokaryotic cells are known as prokaryotes, and those organisms which carry eukaryotic cells are known as eukaryotes. Now cytoplasm. So can you see this gray substances, right? So this ground fluid this ground fluid is known as cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm actually the cell organelles are present. So I hope you could see all the cell organelles present. Many colorful images are present. Those colorful pictures are of cell organelles. Now there is a term left, that is protoplasm. So cytoplasm and nucleus together they are known as protoplasm. And yes, in our next video we will cover cell organelles, their structure and function also. So please like, subscribe and share our channel to keep yourself updated with the syllabus, right? Then thank you so much for watching my video.